Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another field strip video. However, this one's going to be a little bit different, and this was not a video I was expecting to make. I recently reviewed this really cool and rare FN compact Browning high power. That's a double action, single action variant. In fact, I believe the model is the HP-DAC. Yeah, very few of these were ever made and imported into the United States. And I assumed, because so much of it is like a Browning high power, it would field strip like a Browning high power. So when I got it back from the range, I tried to take it apart, and lo and behold, it's a little bit different and actually kind of difficult to take apart. Now, if you're familiar with a standard Browning high power, these are very easy to field strip. I'll go ahead and show you that. Of course, drop the magazine. Ensure that there is no ammunition in the firearm. You pull the slide back to the disassembly notch. You push up on that safety right there. It holds the slide back. Then all you have to do is push the slide stop through. You lift it up a little bit, push it through. It simply comes right out of the pistol. Then be very careful. Hold that slide, drop the safety, and then the slide will come right off of the frame. Very simple. Everyone knows how to do that has ever owned or shot a Browning high power. However, on this pistol, we don't have a safety. We have a decocker, and there is no disassembly notch for anything to hold that slide open. So if you're gonna pull this slide back, you gotta use a lot of strength and then hold it in a very specific place. So I'll go ahead and show you this. I'll drop this magazine. Of course, let's safety check this one as well. Ensure there is no ammunition inside. And now we have to pull the slide back to where the slide stop will come out. You can't hold the slide back by any other mechanism except your hand, and this spring is under a lot of tension. Once that is lined up, you have to do the same thing, push up on that slide stop and then push it through. And this gun, because of the recoil spring system, it's actually under more tension. So I just can't push it out with my bare hand. So I might have to use the magazine base plate to push this out. Let's see if I can do it here. This can be a little bit on the difficult side. As I said, it's definitely different than a standard high power. All right, so I'm still having some problems here, as you can see. I've done this once with my bare hands, and holding the slide back is really hard. Let's see. You guys can see I'm actually struggling with this because that slide stop wants to drop. All right, I started it maybe. Okay, I'll try to do this from a different angle then. Let's see if I hold it. Let's see here. I've tried this a number of different times, and I'm glad that I'm documenting this struggle that I'm having, because if you own one of these double actions or this specific model, this can be a real pain in the butt. All right, so let's try it this way. Okay, I think I got it started that time. Okay, here we go. I got it started. Maybe I can get it with my bare hands. I'll use the magazine base plate here, push it through a little bit more. All right, I got it that time. And we can pull that out. There's the slide stop. Now be very careful when you let the slide go, because it will go flying across the room. Gently release it, and now the slide will come off of the frame. And that looks pretty similar to a Browning high power there. Now this is where we also have another difference. On the standard high power, we have the end of the recoil spring has a little round portion which corresponds to where that slide stop will go through the spring and the firearm. Here, we do not have that. This is more of a traditional recoil spring assembly system where you just have a simple guide rod. So we can push in on that, remove the guide rod, and then pull out the barrel. And so that is the field stripped double action Browning high power compact. So now let's put this back together, and I've discovered it reassembles different than it disassembles, and there's a little bit of an issue when it comes to putting the recoil spring back in and getting the slide stop through the frame. So once again, I'm going to pull out this Browning high power here, the standard one, and once again, I want you to note there's that little hole or gap for the slide stop to go through, and everything lines up. However, on this, because it uses that different system, there's a little notch in this barrel where the back of this guide rod goes into. And I want to show this on camera. See if I can get close enough on it here. And as you'll see, that little notch is not in the center. It almost looks like this thing has worn in, but I don't think so. It's hard to tell if that is because the slide has come back so many times and the metal on metal contact has deformed it a little bit, but that is not in the center of that barrel. So when you put this recoil spring system back in, it's going to want to go into that notch, and that's eventually where it will rest. However, you have to put it in different to get the slide back on, and let me show you what I mean. So I'll go ahead and put this barrel in the slide. We'll take the recoil guide rod assembly, put this in, and we're going to put it in like a normal pistol. So I'll just put it right there. It locks into place. Everything looks like it should. And so now when I put this on the frame and I pull it back a little bit to where I could put the slide stop through, that recoil guide rod is now obstructing that pathway for the slide stop. So nothing I do will allow me to put that in. What I've discovered you have to do, and I'm going to assume this is going to be the same for any of the Browning high powers that use either a double action, single action mechanism or the double action only, is you have to make sure this guide rod is pushed all the way up where it would not naturally want to be. So it's high against the barrel. When you do that and you put it together, that pathway will not be obstructed, and with just the slide back a little bit, you're able to push in the slide stop all the way. Now, it is not locked into the gun, so as long as I have the slide in my hand, I can push this thing in and out, as you can see. However, if I rack the slide, once it gets past a certain point, that recoil guide rod will slip down and lock that slide stop into place, and you'll actually hear a little bit of a click. And now it's locked in. The slide stop will not come out. So reassembly is different than field stripping, and that can be a little bit difficult because, as you saw, getting the gun apart is a little bit of a task, especially if you have weaker hands, and putting it together is different than taking it apart. So I did want to share this whole experience with you in case you have one of the Browning high power double action, single action pistols, or the double action only ones with just this decocker. This is not a fun gun to field strip. It takes a little bit of time and you struggle with it. I really prefer if they would have tried to design this like the original high powers, which are really easy to put back together. So all we have to do, put the slide on the frame, we pull the slide back to that disassembly notch, put the safety on, take our slide stop, insert it through the frame, go all the way in, lock it in, carefully release the safety, let the slide go home. You're good to go, and of course insert the magazine. And that's the standard way to field strip and reassemble a Browning high power, but this one is a little bit different and a little bit tricky, and I don't think a lot of people are going to know about all those different tricks, and that's just what I discovered working with this gun. So I hope this video helps somebody in the future that might own one of these and have taken it apart and can't figure out how to put it back together. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And, as always, thanks for watching.